Welcome back everyone dito sa latest episode ng Deep Dive. Kasama natin no less than the retired but still very much active Justice ng Bayan, Justice Antonio Carpio. Thank you so much, Justice, for making time. Pasensya na for getting a little bit late. I don't know anong ginagawa nila Vince Dizon pero sobrang traffic ngayon. I don't know if it will help with the approval ratings of the president. But joking aside, Justice, ang dami natin pag-usapan in the coming minutes, if not 45 minutes or hour. So I hope it's not too late. But Justice, before we go to issues of West Philippine Sea and ICC, may mga developments tayo dyan. And of course, etong potential entry of the Supreme Court into the Sara impeachment equation, may I put you also in trouble kasi kami na nagagalit sa akin. What do you think about Kiko and Bam joining Chiz-Dds and DDS7 as part of the majority in the Senate? What is your sense about that, Justice?
Well, again, that will blur the party lines, that will blur the distinction between the Duterte group, the among the Duterte group, the Marcos Romualdez group, and the other third force, not the other political parties. So the people will be confused
Mm.
because uh, the Bam and Kiko ran under a different group, and now they've joined the majority, or they're joining the majority. So the question is, will they follow the majority when the majority, will they vote for the bills of the majority? I
Yeah.
mean, so if they will vote for the bills of a majority, then we lose uh, fiscalizers in the Senate.
Right.
So,
Okay,
and
Justice.
if they, yeah. So what is their agreement with the majority? Are they just what will the majority get from them if they become chairperson of committees, but they will not be voting for the bills of the majority? So what's the deal there? I mean, why would the majority agree to make them chairs of committees if they will vote against the bills of the majority? I mean, they will not follow the agenda of the majority. So that has to be explained, because normally the majority will not give those committees to them unless the majority gets something in return. And what is that something in return?
Oh, just I didn't know that. Just I thought because the way it works is they can have the cake and eat it too. Apparently, the fantastical argument out there is pwede sila mag-majority, pero pwede rin sila bumoto with Riza in minority. Like, I don't know which Disneyland Mickey Mouse theory this is, but yes, my understanding is there should be a quid pro quo, right? If you're gonna join Cheese and DDS7, I don't know if the two Tulfo brothers are also gonna be in the mix. I think, 'di ba? I mean, hindi ka bibigyan ng mga plum chairmanship or preferred chairmanship without some sort of a quid pro quo, right? Justice, am I being too
Yes.
simple here or am I being too
Yeah, because these are important committees, the education and the agriculture. And why would the majority give this to them if they will not follow the agenda, or they will not support the bills of the majority? I mean, it doesn't make sense. I cannot understand it. That has to be explained. I mean, what is the deal? There is a quid pro quo here, and we have to know what's the quid pro quo.
right? Well, I mean, maybe the quid pro quo is tiwala na lang kayo sa amin. Just trust me, bro, I got this. Parang ganun ang lumalabas sa Justice eh. Kasi parang dami nagagalit when we ask, wait lang. I mean, even before going to the quid pro quo question, Justice, isn't it a bit strange that after everything Chizo Scudero has done or not done, right, in accordance or in contravention of the Constitution, and the fact that he's being carried really by the DDS7, right? So I'm talking also about Cayetano, I think Aimee, the two Villars, Bongo, Bato, Robin Hood Padilla, whatever. I mean, just joining them per se, right? might send the wrong signal. Doesn't it, Justice? Isn't that hindi lang, I think it's more than confusing, right? It's a bit anachronistic, I would say.
Yes, remember that the Chiz-Dds cobbled together the majority because uh, of the Duterte bloc in the Senate, and so I think the Duterte bloc will be dominant here. So and then Bam and Kiko will be joining this bloc, which is where the in which the Duterte bloc will have a great say because they actually provided the majority votes. So it's difficult to understand, and if Bam and Kiko want to explain their move, they have to explain it clearly. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me that the majority will give these important committee chairs to them for nothing, just to vote for Chiz. But Chiz already has the majority. I mean, Chiz doesn't need their votes uh, to be Senate president. So uh, I'm sure that the Duterte bloc will say, okay, we'll take them in, but these are the conditions. So we don't know, and it's difficult to understand why this is happening.
I mean, thank you, Justice, for pointing out what many people seem to be naively overlooking, which is you're not going to be just part of the majority because, well, trip ka lang ni Cheese. I mean, what about the argument that by being part of the majority, they could counterbalance the Duterte bloc and perhaps nudge Cheese in the right direction? Would that be a tad naive? Because there's just two of them, right?
Well, they're just the two of them, and if they join the majority, who will be speaking for the rest of us? There's only one person, one voice there, so that will be speaking for the rest of us. So it's this is really horse trading, and we want to know what are the horses being traded. I mean, we cannot accept an explanation that trust us or that uh, uh, the majority is not demanding anything from us. I mean, it's that's very strange.
Unless we were born yesterday, right?
Yes.
But I think even people who were born yesterday will understand yung quid pro quo. Like, mommy, I cry, you give me milk, right? Like, but anyway, just is going back to this. The reason why this got a bit stranger than it should have been or become is because there was a very kind of spirited intervention also by Mayor and former Vice President Lenny Robredo, whereby basically parang ang lumalabas dito, I wanna like pull out the exact quote para, we're fair. Basically, parang ang lumabas pa dito is maybe people are prejudging is too far, too fast, and that, this is basically not a major move. Why are people making such a fuzz out of it? Parang ganun ang labas nung statement sa akin. But let me just read it just to be clear. And I wanted to put it into context. Parang, wait lang, mag-real talk lang tayo. You're talking about joining the majority, joining Chiz Escudero, and with the majority of the block members being DDS. So I doubt you can just join that and still do whatever you want on every other issue, right? But before going to the Lenny statement, Justice, like, what is your understanding? Do you need to be in majority to be a good senator? Is that the only way to be a good
No.
senator, to be
I
part of
mean,
the majority?
Risa Ontiveros is outstanding as senator, and she's a minority. She's in the minority.
And that's why some of them, we have some people weirdly questioning the achievement of Riza Ontiveros na hindi, yung kay Riza naman, hindi naman siya yung mga healthcare issues or mga ganun. It was more like fiscalizing, etc. Okay, ito from what I see here, sinabi ni Lenny, marami pa rin kasi tayong mga kasama na mas puso yung pinapairal, mas emosyon. Ako, kung gusto natin manalo, di pwede yun eh. Kung gusto natin manalo, kailangan mas malayo yung pagtingin natin at mas malawak. So, Justice, are we being just emotional by saying, wait, you're joining the majority, que pasa? And sabi ni Vice President Mayor Lenny, ngayon parang one false move lang, so one false move lang or supposedly one false move or one move ng isang kandidato na hindi sang-ayon sa kanila, probably referring to some people critical of this, awayin nila. Mahirapan tayo na wala tayong espasyo para doon sa mga hindi eksakto sa paniniwala natin. So Justice, in short, are we being purist, emotional, OA, unfair by asking the questions we're asking right now?
No, I think we want to understand the move. That's why I'm saying, explain to us what's the deal here. Because we all know this is politics and this will not happen without a deal. What's really the deal here?
Are you worried that part of the deal is to not aggressively push for the convening of the trial or not make the trial its optimal version? Because we keep on getting assurances that Kiko and Bam will be for the trial to convene. So, what should be our concern? I mean, could you
Well,
see a situation whereby they do it right on the trial issue, but that's still not enough? Or maybe as long as they push for the convening of the trial, and okay na yan, kahit siguro majority sila, we're willing to accept compromises on other issue. Do you see the discussion here, Justice, the debate also on that level?
yeah, we want to know what are the terms of this agreement with the majority. Let us take a look at Teresa. She's in the minority and she's questioning the bills that should be questioned. She's conducting inquiries in aid of legislation that should be conducted. Will they be doing that also? I mean, could they be that independent also if they are a part of the majority? Who will fiscalize the administration? That's it. We want to know because they were elected uh, as oppositionists, and when once they sit, they join the majority. We want to know why they're doing this. I mean, if the Anois trust us, well, we want to know. I mean, we are adults here, and if the answer is give them space, but we want to know really. I mean, this is something very important for us because then what will happen uh, to the opposition if that is the if in every election after there's a majority, everybody will say, oh, we will join the majority because uh, just give us space or trust us. Then where is our democracy if everybody joins the majority? It's just like the House. The moment uh, the House convenes, all of them want to join the majority because of the pork barrel. If you are not in the majority, you cannot get your pork barrel. I mean, these things don't happen in a vacuum. There has to be some reason, and we want to know.
So Justice, hindi tayo, well, Lenny said, kung sarado tayo sa mga hindi nakapareho ng paniniwala natin, mahirapan tayong manalo. But wait lang, parang tapos na elections, right? I mean, it's not like we demanded Kiko and especially Bam to come very strongly on issues of ICC and Sara impeachment. I'm not even very sure what they said on those issues, if anything at all. Tapos na elections. So, what, is this about 2028 elections?
I mean, we voted for them because, in fact, we voted for them. We did not vote for the Duterte group. We did not vote for the Marcos group. We voted for them because they're separate. We want them to be to so that they won't form part of. We didn't want the other two groups. Now, after the elections, they joined the other two groups. What happens to us now?
exactly. Um, Now, Justice, there's a question here, which is, I don't know if I can call that disinformation or misinformation. Like, okay, there's this, again, Disneyland Mickey Mouse argument that, no. All Cheese wants is just numbers. Basta as long as makuha niya yung vote ni Kiko and Bam to have the majority, happy na siya. He's not gonna ask for anything else. Is that a realistic way of looking at things? That Cheese will just be
Well,
happy having their numbers?
Chis at this time has a majority already. So if you have the majority already, if somebody wants to join you, you can demand concessions. Okay, we will allow you to join our party, but this is the condition because they actually don't need you anymore.
But you need them because you want to get the chairmanship of
Yeah,
Justice.
but you need them more now than they need you.
So the leverage is with Chiz.
Yes, the leverage is with Cheese. So Cheese will say, okay, you get a chairmanship, but you vote this way, this way, this way.
So in that case, let's just trust that Chiz will be magnanimous and not ask for anything else, right? Like, I like you, I like your hairstyle, Bam, I like Kiko. Ito ang Senado, ito ang mga kinakain namin, ito mga bills natin. Pretty ano no, fantastical, no? I find some of the arguments and all. Kaya I just don't understand why would some people say na it's OA or overly emotional for us. Like, no, what is the deal, right? Justice, that's what you said, right? What is the deal to be part of the majority? There's no free lunch, right? Is there free lunch, Justice? May free lunch ba?
And no, no, there is no free lunch in politics. And remember that the Duterte group is the one driving this majority now. It's not the Malacanang group. So there. So what's happening is that the Bama and Aquino are actually joining the Duterte group, which is the driving force of this new majority.
Isn't it strange, Justice, that Tito Soto and Ping Lacson are now in the minority? I mean, that's it. Like they run as admin, now they're in the minority, right? I mean, of course, the argument would be, but you know, the Senate is a separate branch, blah blah blah. Of course, walang influence ng executive. I'm just saying, it's such a weird thing, no? And going back to this, Justice, are we being purist? Masyado pa tayong purist for saying, wag na nang samahan yung DDS dominated block na yan. Is that too purist of us, Justice? Maybe we're being too naive. Maybe we just should go with the flow. If you can beat them, join them. Which is which is your point, right? Like, so ba't pa natin sila binoto kung yan lang naman, eh andun naman yung candidate XYZ, di ba? Eh di sana si Pacquiao na lang binoto natin kung ganyan lang naman or whatever. No, I mean, Justice, are we being unfair here by asking questions and even raising eyebrows? And I mean,
Well,
what is this?
well,
Please.
we are not being unfair because we're precisely asking for an explanation, something that will satisfy us. Because right now we know this is politics, and we know that there is horse trading in these matters. So what's the deal?
Okay, hindi ka naman Ronald Llamas, Justice. But just to be clear, Justice, free lunch tayo when we meet in person. Walang kapalit yan. But Justice, going back to this, okay, what is your fear and what is your hope dun sa potential quid pro quo? Realistically. So basically, our argument is that, I'm sorry, it's a Mickey Mouse Disneyland argument na walang kapalit at all. Like, we're just making him as he doesn't need pala. So the leverage is clearly with Cheese. So what is your fear, most fearsome, ano yung dapat ikakatakot natin, Justice Carpio, as part of a quid pro quo? And ano yung realistically best na pwedeng quid pro quo na hindi ma-compromise si Kiko and Bam in terms of their ability not only to deliver on the core promises they made, but also deliver as fiscalizers, as progressive fiscalizers?
Well, one, of course, the impeachment. That's the immediate. Has that been part of the agreement? Is that part of the agreement how they will position or position themselves in impeachment? Second is on the pork barrel, because it has been our advocacy that the pork barrel must end. I mean, what is their position there? I mean, we know that you joined the majority because of a pork barrel. I mean, we all know that.
Chairmanship.
Yeah, but we all know that that's one of the reasons why they joined the majority. That's practically the reason why in the House they joined the majority, because of the pork barrel. So what is the role of the pork barrel in this deal? Because we are campaigning to put an end to pork barrel, because we believe that pork barrel is very material is one of the major causes of corruption in government. So how does that figure in?
So what
And
you're saying
in
is that
fact, we
will they stand? Kasi di ba, sorry for cutting you there, no? Justice Ping Lacson is very clear na he has serious questions with pork barrel or yung mga ano ma, yung mga nakatagong funds. So what you're saying is that if you're part of the majority, you're not in a position to call that out.
yes, and
Basically.
you're not in a position to call that out. Not only that, are you going to partake of that? Because that belong the majority. That's precisely why people join the majority in our system now.
Yeah, thank you, Justice, for fleshing this out. Because I think a lot of our friends are under the, I don't know, fantastical Disneyland Mickey Mouse impression that no, no, basta sasama ka lang sa kanila, open-minded lang kayo, there will be no demand. Now, okay, having said that, let's give benefit of the doubt to Kiko and Bam that they'll try to hold their line and that they'll make sure hindi sila ma-compromise, lalamunin ng sistema because they don't want to alienate their base. What should Bam and Kiko demand na not to be demanded of by Chiz, if I can put it that
No,
way?
we just want an explanation from them that what we have been advocating or advocacies are not being compromised here.
So, should there be a press conference, maybe? A joint press conference, hindi lang mga Facebook posts or something like that? Or mga pahapiyaw na explanations or more like pushback? Do you want them to sit down and... Kasi I saw a press conference by Riza Ontiveros. Her transcript says she's fine. Her demeanor doesn't say she's fine. And my sources say she's not fine. So should they sit down together and explain this? Maybe together with De Lima and Shell, who didn't join the majority in the Congress, right? That's a big cost if you don't join the majority in the Congress. Probably even more, di ba? Mas malakas pa yung speaker sa Congress kumpara sa Senate President, di ba? Kasi 24 Republic. So, should they all sit down and explain bakit yung iba sa inyo nandito sa kabila, yung iba sa inyo nandito. Ilan na nga lang kayo, you spread pa your forces. I mean, I just don't see the strategy there. Yung insider, outsider, outsider, insider, ganun daw yung strategy. Justice, do you see the brilliance, the art of the deal, the big and beautiful strategy there, Justice?
No, I mean the problem in our uh, politics in Congress is that after the election, during the election, they fight each other, the lines are drawn. But after the election, they all join the majority. Why? It's basically because of the goodies, the pork barrel. That's the rule in the House. We know that. Is this being adopted now in the Senate? I mean, we want to know because uh, we voted for them to not to join, not to be part of the DDS or the Marcos group, but now they're joining the majority, which is really the DDS group now that's driving this majority of cheese.
Cheese is more like the puppet being mastered. Ano ba yung medyo yeah, I mean Cheese is really basically at the mercy of the DDS7, right? I mean without them
Yeah,
he's gone. It's as simple as that. I don't know why people don't get it.
yeah.
It's as
Because
simple as
if
that.
today the DDS group isn't happy with Cheese, they withdraw, and Cheese ceases to be the Senate president. They actually hold him by the nose.
By the
So
kilay. Ay, sorry. By the kilay. Like, I don't know kung pwede. Sorry.
so
Sorry, Justice, I couldn't help.
that's why I'm saying it's the DDS group that's really driving this majority. Because if they leave, Cheese loses his majority.
Absolutely, which is also exactly why you need to be together, right? The reason why napakalakas ang DDS7 is they stick together. You're from Davao, Justice Carpio. You know may mga intrigues din within the House of Duterte, right? There's the Bongo faction, whatever. There's the Honey-led, ganyan. But at the end of the day, they vote, right? They cohere. So I'm not sure how you beat that Okay, let's get the argument of Lenny. Okay, this is about winning. Okay, I don't know how we're gonna win in 2028 if solid pa rin yung DDS 7. Not only do they save Sara from impeachment, they get their agenda through, and they go all into 2028. And then ano mangyari sa kabila? You're just like what, ano bang tawag dyan? You're, nag-ricochet lang kayo, yung isa nandito, yung isa nandyan. Diba? The more reason for you to cohere because you know yung kabila, they are solid. Right? I'm not sure how you're gonna solid. If Riza is here, you're there, that one is there.
Yeah, I mean, this majority is actually the majority of the DDS because they are the majority in the majority. 13, they have 7, so they are majority in the majority. They are the driving force, and our Kiko and Bam are joining this DDS group in effect.
In effect, giving their imprimatur.
Yeah, well, this DDS group, they are not newbies. They will demand something.
Right, right. Aha. So what you're saying is that even if sabihin natin si Cheese, let's say he woke up on the right side of his kilay, right? He's feeling good. He loves life. He's enjoying the Paris Fashion Week. Sabihin niya kay Bam, Kiko, we're all good, pare. Dude, pare, tolchong, bro. But even if Cheese is like that, the DDS 7 will say, wait lang. Dahil lang sa amin, Senate President ka, baka naman gusto mo humingi doon sa dalawa na yan na wag silang maingay sa issue na to, or baka naman, pwede silang mag-ingay in public, pero naman, medyo wag silang magganyan sa ganyan, di ba? I mean, let's be honest, let's call it. It's very conceivable, realistically sabihin ng DDS 7 and Cheese, yeah, I know Bam and Kiko, you cannot say no to the trial. But Justice, we know that the trial itself is not the end of the story, right? It's also how the trial will be conducted. Will there be opening of the accounts, right? I mean, there are
Yes.
so many layers to the trial, and there could be horse trading within horse trading, right, Justice Carpio?
Yeah, that's the danger there because you're joining a majority that's controlled by the DDS, and the number one agenda is to prevent the impeachment of Sara at this time.
Okay, Justice, before we make more enemies, let's talk about Duterte. Okay. I think
No,
masyadong natutuwa yung mga Duterte.
yeah. What I'm saying here is we need
Just
an
explanation.
explanation.
Yeah, of course, of course. Kasi
We're not making any judgment yet. We're just asking for an explanation.
but Justice, ang point kasi nila, how dare we even question? Well, we should just follow them. Sabi nga ni chairman, 'di ba? Tapos na, wala may instructions na tayo, Justin. Anyway, Justice, sarcasm aside, because medyo uminit ang ulo ko when I hear explanations like that. Just trust me, bro. Tiwala lang, pare. Di ba? Yung mga ganyan bang yan tayo eh. Okay, let's talk about the Sari impeachment issue, Justice. Now, your former colleagues in the Supreme Court, a lot of them DDS appointees, sorry for saying that. They might get involved here, kinda. Tell me, Justice, what should we expect from your former colleagues or former institution, rather?
Well, let's talk about the order of the Supreme Court to uh, the House to comment on certain questions, to answer certain questions. And I think the most important uh, information that they're seeking from the House is whether the 10th session day rule has been violated. And the House has already said to the Senate as an impeachment court that we have not violated because on the 10th day, the resolution of more than one-third of the members of the House was submitted, and that automatically constitutes the articles of impeachment. It prevails over the first three under the Constitution. There's no dispute about that. If there are three previous impeachment complaints, those will be erased the moment at least a third of the members of the House will submit their own resolution. Automatically, that becomes the articles of impeachment to be sent to the Senate as an impeachment court, and then trial will proceed forthwith. And it looks like that with the 10th session day requirement was complied with. But when the lawyers of Sara and I think Attorney Torion and the lawyer Sara, the law office of Fortune,
Fortune,
brought
yeah.
this issue to the Supreme Court. There was no comment from the Solicitor General or from the House as to the 10 session days. So the Supreme Court was totally unaware that the House was saying that we complied with the 10 session days. And the complaint of Attorney Torion and the Fortune Law Office was their complaints were basically anchored that there was a violation of the 10 session days. So I think when the Supreme Court learned that the House submitted a reply to the Sara's answer before submitted to the impeachment court, that the 10 session days were did not lapse, that they submitted the fourth complaint on time. That's why they asked for those information. Now, I think what happened here was whoever was the ponente, okay, said this is the question I want to ask from the House, and everybody submitted in the court submitted their own questions, the questions that they wanted to ask. So that's why you find strange questions like, did the House gives VP Sara an opportunity to explain the charges, to give did the House give VP Sara an opportunity to present her side? But that opportunity doesn't exist because that is a direct filing. That opportunity will happen in the impeachment proceeding in the Senate. You don't have any hearing for this because the Constitution says the moment a resolution of impeachment is signed by at least a third, it automatically goes. There's no opportunity for the person being impeached to present her side. That person is not being given an opportunity because that opportunity happens in the Senate. So it's strange that somebody would ask the House. The Supreme Court would be asking the House, did you give Sara an opportunity to be heard? But that's not at all in the process. That comes later. So I think this is what happened. Everybody submitted the questions that they wanted. So there's no coherence, there's no consistency. But I think we can disregard those questions. The most important question is, was there compliance with the 10 session days requirement of the Supreme Court? And the House has repeatedly said there is, and I think they will submit the same answer, that if you look at the calendar, because the Senate and the House have session days only on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. The rest of the week, they don't have session days. So, and remember, this is Christmas. They probably didn't meet. And sometimes if Monday is a session day, but they don't have a quorum, they consider that as not a session day if there's no quorum. And also, if there is a session, let's say on Monday, but they did not adjourn, they just suspended the session and met again the following day, that is considered one session day because they did not adjourn. To be considered one session day, you must adjourn at the end of that day. But if you don't adjourn, you just suspend, the one day is actually extended to 2 days by practice. So that's why it doesn't automatically establish that just because more than 10 days have passed, that the 10-day session day rule has been violated. So I would say that the House, it looks like that they are on solid ground when they say that we followed the 10 session day rule. And so that is I think the basic issue. all the rest is just noise for me.
Justice, thank you so much again for taking your time kasi yun nga yung problema, ang daming mga conflicting. Ang dami kasing spokesperson, but ang daming spokesperson, Justice. Lahat yata may spokesperson, but si Kapunan yata, well, atong ang na yata siya ngayon, but like, Topacio, hindi ko alam kung si Malutikia, mayroon na rin the fact, I mean, everyone is a spokesperson. Actually, next week yata samahan ko yung spokesperson ni Cheese, kasi di ba, spokesperson daw ng Senate, ano, pero sabi naman, Risa, hindi ka naman spokesperson namin. You're just there to explain kay Cheese, di ba? So, anyway, ang gulo. Speaking of that, Justice, going back to that, um, so where do you see this going in terms of the super? What are the scenarios? What is the most probable response or intervention of the Supreme Court? And are you worried, as some quarters have been? I'm getting some messages from supposedly informed people that they are worried that the Supreme Court may throw some hurdles into the process at the very least, if not try to also sabotage it. But we were also worried Ombudsman will do it, but thankfully it didn't happen. So baka naman people are just being overly anxious or fretting over things too much or handling too much. Where do you stand, Justice? I know again this is your former institution, but to the degree that you are knowledgeable about, or at least reports are coming to you behind the scenes, what can you say on that? Where do you think the Supreme Court will go, technically speaking, from a legal standpoint, and also politically in terms of its role?
Well, I think the Supreme Court will say that the impeachment should proceed because there is no violation of the Constitution. There's a
Right.
violation of the 10 session day rule. I think everything revolves around that. All the rest, as I said, is just noise. So
Right.
if the House can prove, and I suppose they have the records, that the 10 session days did not lapse, that they acted within on the 10th day, they acted. The resolution of at least a third of the House was submitted to the Secretary General on the 10th session day, then the impeachment will continue. The Supreme Court will say there is no violation of the Constitution and it should continue. But if there is a violation, then the Supreme Court will say you cannot do that. So
So you're
that for
cautiously
me,
optimistic. You're cautiously optimistic, Justice.
yeah, because I read the reply of the House to the Senate, and they put there the dates, and it looks like it's correct.
It adds up. It adds up. Justice, wala bang patama sa'yo si Cheese recently? Yung, wala na siyang mga kilay back at you. Clap
Well,
back
he did not reply to my
reply.
answer that actually there is a gag rule in the impeachment rules of the Senate that the presiding officer and
Should not, yeah, make
the
prejudicial.
judges should not
Exactly.
public comment on the merits of the impeachment case. And they've been publicly commenting left and right. I think they're now uh, quiet about it.
I think they got the message, but we're just reminding people of the quality of leadership. Bam and Kiko are so eager to join soon, and our best wishes to them in their journey with the rest of the DDS gang in the Senate. Talaga, I'm sorry, Justice. I really have to say this. I mean, like, come on. I mean, que horror. Justice Carpio, so just in terms of timeline, are we expecting by the end of this month magkaroon na tayo na clarity on how the trial, whether the trial will push forward na, and just mechanically speaking, kailan ba tayo magkaroon dapat ng idea na the trial will be robust enough, meaning magkakaalaman din sa money trail, which I think is really the crux of the issue, as you said.
Well, on July 29, they are supposed to meet, convene as an impeachment court, and they will decide on their schedule. And they're saying maybe first week of August they will have the first day of the trial. So I think we're nearing that timeline already.
And just as the other thing is that is coming up very soon is yung the State of the Nation address of President BBM. And just to put it mildly, the position of the president has been nebulous, amorphous, protean, ano pang synonym ang pwede mong gamitin? Liquid. So, what do you want to hear from the president, or rather, what should the president say on this entire issue of impeachment, but also the ICC, which we'll discuss soon, right? I think this will be a good launching pad for our next part of our discussion, Justice. I mean, should BBM say anything na maayos? Kasi he has been saying things on impeachment, which is like he's against it and all, which I think is like, wait, if you believe in separation of powers and you're above the fray, you're actually interfering, right? And actually, you're not interfering in a way that you would expect from him, considering siya yung tineteten, yung anak niya pa yung nag-sponsor. Anyway, do you think the president should say something on the impeachment issue, and what is the most appropriate way for him to say it? To say,
Well, I don't expect him to mention the impeachment because he has said several times that the presidency has no role in the impeachment, and so he does not have to repeat that. But I would be happy to hear him say that we are rejoining the ICC. Uh, so I would be happy to hear that, although maybe he will not say that also. And
but can he afford not to say anything on the ICC issue after everything? Kasi diba he's been trying to avoid to discuss that issue, right? But can he still afford not to say anything on it? Parang ostrich, pretend the issue is not there.
well, he should say something because it's very important. But I think if he wants to say something, something that will make people really happy, or he will say, okay, we are rejoining the ICC, and instruct the Senate to, and he can just sign the he can notify the ICC and send the ratification papers to the Senate. So I think that will really clarify his position. And of course, I would like the president to say something about the West Philippine Sea, and the one issue where we should all be in agreement because we can never lose is to file an arbitration case again, the second one on the extended continental shelf. And we can never lose because China is so far away. It's more than 350 nautical miles away. And under UNCLOS, you can claim only within 350 nautical miles away. Beyond that, you have no right whatsoever. And China is more than 350 nautical miles away. China will again raise the 10-dash line. But if they raise that, the tribunal will just strike it down again. So I think if he wants a win, a sure win, something that can be his legacy, is to file the second arbitration case. And there is a need to file that because Vietnam and Malaysia filed a joint submission. We oppose it, China oppose it, we filed our own, China oppose it, Malaysia and Vietnam oppose it, and under the rules of the UN Commission on the limits of the continental shelf, once there is an opposition, the UN Commission will not act on it. It will be frozen. The parties now will have to bring it to arbitration if they want it resolved. So if we want it resolved, we have to bring it to compulsory arbitration, and we have to resolve it as soon as we can because every day of delay, China becomes more powerful economically and militarily.
So basically, the way forward is to double down, right? Rejoining the
Yes.
ITC, doubling down our legal victory in the West Philippines. So you're saying go big or go home, or lose home, rather.
Yes, precisely. We should double down because Wu
Yeah.
Shikon, the guru of China on the South Chinese, said this publicly, that we should prevent the Philippines from filing another arbitration case
Right.
because he said the world will again support the Philippines, and that's what we need. So if is if China dreads a second case, then we should do it.
Last point, Justice. So the other day may pinost ako this kasi what, ninth magdedekada na tayo, no, in terms of our arbitration awards soon next year. The countries that express support for us categorically, unequivocally, without any whatever caveats, um well, basically they're all Western countries or Japan, India, Korea, like-minded democracies in Asia. I don't see a single ASEAN country uh fully supporting us. Or is this wrong? I mean I know that Vietnam, back in the day, blah blah blah,
Mm.
this and that. I know that Malaysia indirectly, blah blah blah. But hindi ba parang kapos yung expression of support from the rest of ASEAN compared to much more categorical, crystal clear support we're getting from countries as far as Lithuania, for instance, or New Zealand, right? So I have Czech Republic, Greece, Lithuania, Portugal, Sweden, Canada, Germany, Japan, Poland, Spain, Belgium, France, Italy, Norway, Slovakia, Austria, Finland, Ireland, New Zealand, Romania, US, Australia, Denmark, India, Netherlands, Korea, and the United Kingdom. Are we in the wrong side of the globe? Remember, there was this President Diaz of Mexico said something like, "Poor Mexico, too close to US, too far from God." Ako sabi ko, "Poor Philippines, too close to ASEAN, too far from its allies," or something like that. Like, am I being too cynical, Justice? I know it's much more nuanced. Obviously, I've been writing on the positions of Vietnam, but it doesn't look good, right? If these are the countries alone that are fully backing us.
Yes, it doesn't look good, and it's a failure of ASEAN, really, because, uh, well, of course, you have to count out Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar because they receive a lot of economic aid from China. But the rest, they also, well, Vietnam has a long border with China. Their Politburo is divided, but they did write a letter to the arbitral tribunal. We are supporting the arbitration, but we expected them to intervene. But they, at the end of the day, they just wrote a letter. But when the decision came out, when the arbitral award came out, they had more celebrations in Hanoi than in Manila at the time. So the Vietnam has a peculiar situation that it's just too close to China. And then you have Malaysia. Malaysia has a lot of investments in China, and China has a lot of investments in Malaysia. And as far as Malaysia is concerned, since they're able to get the gas despite being threatened by China, at the end of the day, they're getting the gas. So for them, since the exclusive economic zone is about exploiting the natural resources, and we are able to exploit it despite all the threats, so we're okay. So and that's also the position of Indonesia. China threatens us, but at the end of the day, we're still able to get the gas. So we don't have to conduct megaphone diplomacy just like the Philippines. Tayo, we conduct a megaphone diplomacy, but we do not go there to read bank to survey the gas. We lack the political will.
So
So
if you what's that? The Roosevelt thing, speak loudly and carry sorry, speak softly and carry big stick. What you're saying is that
that's
we speak loudly but carry a small stick. Right? We're like the opposite of Roosevelt. That's like the worst possible.
the I think the thinking in the Philippines is that okay, we're willing to go there provided the US will accompany us 24/7 the whole year. But the US said we will accompany you, but we cannot stay there every hour of the year. So, and Malaysia and Indonesia never demanded that. They said, okay, we're happy if you will be there to as a show of force. And the US was there. I mean, their ships, the Australian ships were there, and that's why the Chinese Coast Guard could not do anything. The same with Indonesia. The U.S. aircraft carrier was there, but you do not expect them to be there 24 hours every day of the year. I mean, the U.S. Navy is not our Navy, so we have to carry our own burden. Where the the U.S. is helping us open up the place. So, but I think it's too much for to say that we want you to be there every hour of the year. That's what I'm saying. We don't have the political will. Why don't we just do what Malaysia and Indonesia are doing? They've been successful. We don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Absolutely. On that note, that the contra Rooseveltian position, speak loudly, carry a small stick. That's a very good book title, no, Justice? Like the perfectly wrong way of doing it, right? Speak loudly, but carry a small stick. On that big and beautiful observation, Justice Carpio, thank you so much. Such good English, Justice Carpio, such good English. Where did you learn your English, Justice Carpio? Nakita mo yung sinabi niya sa Liberian president. Such good English, such good English. Sir, it's our national language. Akala natin Liberian din yung language. On that note, Justice Carpio, thank you so much for joining me in the pahamak. Joining me in the eye of the storm. Kasi ang daming galit sa akin, literally, as we're talking
Yeah.
sa Twitter. Yan na naman si Darian, OA na naman, nega na naman. Sabi ko, ay nako, ako pa may kasalanan. Thank you so much, Justice Carpio. Yan, in off na ako, pinapauwi na ako ng kapitbahay ko dito. On that note, thank you very much, Justice, and hopefully see you soon again, no? Looking forward
Yeah.
to meeting you with para naman may illegal luminary naman tayong kasama si Sir Ronald Llamas. God bless po.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you to our viewers.
God bless po. Salamat.